You had the likes of Sayyidina Abu Hurairah. He embraced Islam in the 7th year of Hijrah. 7th year after Hijrah, after Khaybar was conquered. Prophet ﷺ only remained alive for around 4 years after this. From the moment Abu Hurairah embraced Islam, he did not leave the side of Rasulullah, not even for a second. For the moment he embraced Islam, wherever you would see Muhammad, the son of Abdullah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with him, you would see a man called Abu Hurairah, listening to every word of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and taking note of every word that the blessed tongue of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam uttered. So much so that the Nabi of Allah himself would say to the likes of Abu Hurairah, "Oh Abu Hurairah, why don't you ask for mali ghanimat? Why don't you ask for spoils of war? Why don't you ask for booty? Why don't you ask for dinars, dollars, money, dunya? Your friends, Abu Hurairah, your friends, they ask me for mali ghanimat. They ask me for booty. Abu Hurairah, your friends ask me for dollars. They ask me for the dunya, yet you don't ask. Why don't you ask?" Look at the passion for the deen. He would say to the Nabi of Allah, "Ya Rasulullah, the dunya doesn't interest me, O Messenger of Allah. These dollars and these dinars, they do not interest me, O Messenger of Allah. O Messenger of Allah, this booty and spoils of war do not interest me. Ya Rasulullah, the only thing that interests me is As'aluka an tu'allimani mimma 'allamaka Allah. All I want you to do is to teach me, to give me part of that knowledge which Allah has given you. This is what interests me. How long will dinars last? Ya Rasulullah, this will benefit a man in the dunya and it will benefit a man in the akhirah. It will elevate his ranks in the dunya and it will elevate his ranks in the akhirah. Just give me some of the knowledge that Allah has given you." And he himself says the Muhajirin were occupied in business. The Ansar, they would take care of their land, their orchards, whereas I was a poor man. About himself, he says, "I was a very poor man. I did not eat leavened bread. I didn't wear robes of fine silk. I didn't have servants to serve me. My halat was so bad, my state was so bad, that," he says, "days would go by in which I would not even receive a morsel to eat. And how would I ease the pain of hunger?" He says, "I would take stones and I would tie those stones to my stomach to ease the pain of hunger." And sometimes he couldn't tolerate it, and he says, "I would ask a companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, please explain this verse to me." And he says, "It was not because I did not know the verse, the meaning and the interpretation of the verse. The only reason I would ask another companion with regards to the meaning of this verse was, maybe he will take me home and he will feed me, and as a result, my pain will disappear." There were times, he says, that I would faint. My legs would not be able to carry me due to hunger, and I would faint between the mimbar of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha's room. I would faint, and passers-by would pass by, and when they would see Abu Hurairah in the masjid of Rasulullah, Masjid Nabawi, between the mimbar and Hazrat Aisha's room on the floor, passers-by would pass by and they would place their feet on my neck, thinking Abu Hurairah has become a madman, Abu Hurairah has become insane. This is why he's lying on the floor. He says it wasn't because Abu Hurairah had become a madman, Abu Hurairah had become insane. Days would go by, I was a poor man, I wouldn't receive a morsel, as a result of which my legs would not be able to carry me, and I would faint in the masjid of Rasulullah. This was my condition, but in spite of this, he says, I stayed with the Nabi of Allah. Wherever the Nabi was, Abu Hurairah was there. I would be present when others would be absent, and I would remember when others would forget, so much so that on one occasion the Nabi of Allah said, whoever spreads his garment till I finish this talk of mine, and thereafter he takes the garment and he places it on his chest. He will never forget one word that my tongue has uttered. He says, as soon as the Nabi of Allah said this, he says, I only had one garment on my body. I took it off. As soon as the Nabi of Allah said this, I took my garment off and I spread it just as the Nabi of Allah requested. And I waited and I allowed him to finish his speech. And when the Nabi of Allah finished his speech, I took that chadar, I took that garment, and I brought it close to my chest, and I held it tight to my chest, just like the Nabi of Allah said. I swear by Allah, he says, I swear by the one that sent Muhammad with the truth. I have never forgotten. From that moment to this day, when he was relating this hadith, he says, from that moment to this day, I have never ever forgotten one word of Rasulullah. Year 7 he embraced Islam. Till the death of Rasulullah, he did not leave the Nabi of Allah. And look how Allah honored him and blessed him. There is no one that has related more hadith than Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala. Around 5,500 plus minus hadiths Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu related. This was the passion to acquire the sacred knowledge. You can't find examples for this, not even in terms of the dunya.